For our traditional Thanksgiving dinner, I'm going to make Indian pudding for dessert. This is a super traditional old New England recipe. I had never even heard of it until I moved to Maine. But it's a recipe that the colonists brought over from England, and then because they didn't have access to wheat flour, they used cornmeal, which the American Indians taught them how to mill. So I think it's a really cool recipe. It's not the most beautiful recipe, but it more than makes up for it in taste. So to get started, I'm going to turn my burner on to medium-low and then add my milk and butter and get that simmering. And I'm just going to wait until the butter melts and I get a couple bubbles around the edges before I add the cornmeal. My butter is melted, so now I'm going to add the cornmeal and then cook it until it thickens up about 10 minutes. I want it to get all nice and thick and bubbly before I start adding my eggs and my spices. Okay, this looks nice and thick and bubbly, so I'm going to turn off the heat and put it aside for a minute while I whisk some eggs. Now I'm going to whisk 3 eggs to go into my pudding. There are no leaveners in this pudding, so the only thing that's going to make it rise is my eggs. So I want to make sure that they're beaten really well before I add them. Okay, that looks good. First though, I am going to add some spices and brown sugar. So a half a cup of brown sugar. That in to get all the lumps out. And a half a cup of molasses. And then some vanilla bean paste. You can also use vanilla extract. I just happen to like the paste. It is kind of thick like molasses, and it doesn't have that alcohol taste you sometimes get with the extract, and it also gives you those wonderful flecks in your finished dish. So you can substitute in the paste anytime a recipe calls for vanilla extract. It's a 1-for-1 substitution. Now I'm going to add some cinnamon and ginger, really great fall warm spices. Then I'm going to grate some nutmeg into the pudding. I like to use whole nutmeg and grate it as needed because it's a lot fresher and you're just going to get a better flavor from it that way. Then I'm just going to add a pinch of salt before I add my eggs. Perfect. Now I'm just going to slowly pour the eggs in, stir while I pour them so they don't scramble and curdle as I'm adding them. They're going to bind the whole pudding together, give it a little richness. Just want to stir this really well. All right, that's mixed, so now I'm gonna pour it into my buttered pan. You can use a pie plate, you can use a casserole dish, just some oven safe container, and I have buttered it so my pudding won't stick. I'm gonna pour it right in. Now I'm gonna put it in the oven at 300 degrees for about 2 hours. I wanna cook it till it's set and glossy on top.